It's time to hit the spell books because class is in session at Strixhaven University. In this video, I will present a build for a student attending Quandrix, the college dedicated to mastering magic and the fundamental forces of nature through math. With this Quandrix build, you will enter an enlightened state, casting magic through numeric equations to control the elements and dominate your enemies. Hello, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack, a channel bringing you player-focused discussions and character guides for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Josh, thank you for watching. Before jumping into the build, let's take a look at my character build guidelines. I'm going to focus on levels 1 to 10 as most campaigns are played in this level range. The goal of the build will be to fulfill the concept, but also be viable for combat and roleplay. I will be covering the features and race, class, and background choices that make the build possible. And finally, ability scores will not be defined as each table decides how ability scores are calculated. Instead, I will provide a ranking as to which ability scores you should prioritize for the build. The concept for this character build will be taking inspiration from the art for Quandrix Cultivator and the ill-fated Quandrix subclass from the Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana. This character will be a turtle student attending Quandrix College, who wields magic-powered equations to manipulate the natural elements. For the build's race, Quandrix Cultivator depicts a turtle mage, so I will be going with the turtle. The biggest boon we receive from the race is natural armor, giving us a solid armor class of 17 as long as we aren't wearing any. Taking a look at the Quandrix Cultivator card, the creature typing states that it's a turtle druid. Naturally, the class for this build will be a druid, but the subclass and class fantasies don't necessarily scream magical mathematician. Taking a look at the failed Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana, the major Quandrix subclass shares many spells that are on the druid spell list. Guiding Bolt is a prominent spell from the subclass that just so happens to be featured in one druid subclass, and that's the subclass for this build, the Circle of Stars. The Circle of Stars has many features that can easily be flavored as us using different equations to manipulate the natural forces of the world or probability through magic. When I get to the level by level breakdown, I will go into more detail. The Druid class is usually not associated with the studious mage character fantasy as that's taken up by the wizard, but Strixhaven and more specifically Quandrix is heavy-handed with the trope as their magic is heavily associated with math and science. This is where our background will step in and do the heavy lifting for us. Sage is the go-to background option in the player's handbook for anyone that has developed their intellect prior to becoming an adventurer. In combat, this character has the flexibility to sit and blast away using Guiding Bolt, but with the amount of crowd control, healing, and buffing spells on the Druid spell list, and the support features in the subclass, this character is better off playing the support role. Out of combat, for the same reason they play the support role in combat, they can play the party troubleshooter, using their abilities to overcome exploration-based encounters. For our ability scores, prioritize Wisdom for our spell attack, spell save DC, and subclass features. Next is Intelligence to boost our knowledge-based skills to support the studious mage fantasy, followed by Constitution for some decent hit points. Next is Dexterity to potentially have a bonus to our initiative, then Charisma, and Strength will be our dump stat. Moving on to the skills. The Sage background gives proficiency with Arcana and History. Since there is no science or math skill, Arcana will be the stand-in for our scientific knowledge in addition to our understanding of the arcane. History could be used to recall lectures or magical equations that your character has studied. Being a druid, we tap into our connection with the natural world with the nature and perception skills. Nature rounds out our knowledge skills, reflecting our understanding of flora and fauna. Perception is our ability to perceive the world around us, noticing things about the world that many will be unaware of. As a turtle, we have proficiency with survival, which could represent applying our knowledge of habitats and biomes to keep ourselves safe. Now let's get into a level by level breakdown. Starting at level 1, we get our Druid class proficiencies, are able to speak, read, and write the Druidic language, and are able to cast spells. For our class proficiencies, we can wear light or medium armor or use a shield that isn't made with metal. We can also use clubs, daggers, darts, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, scimitars, sickles, slings, spears, an herbalism kit, and we have proficiency with the intelligence and wisdom saving throws. Quandrix students utilize logic, solving complex arcane equations to cast their spells. By using math and science, they can manipulate the natural forces, so the spells recommended for this build will reflect this, but it won't be a comprehensive list. Here are my suggestions for cantrips and first level spells. Frostbite as an offensive option, allowing us to weaponize the cold. Mold earth or shape water as ways to showcase our ability to manipulate the elements and provide us utility. Create or destroy water. Entangle. Fairy Fire represents an arcane equation that alters the probability around our enemies in our party's favor. Goodberry, Healing Word, and Ice Knife. With level 2 we gain the Wild Shape feature, our subclass the Circle of Stars, and from our subclass the Stars map and Starry Form features. Wild Shape will give us the ability to transform into a beast, but for this character, we won't be using our Wild Shape uses for this. Instead, all of our Wild Shape uses will be used for our Starry Form feature from our subclass. Star Map grants us a special spellcasting focus, which we can flavor as a math or science textbook. With this spellcasting focus, we add the Guidance Cantrip and Guiding Bolt spell to our spell list. Guiding Bolt is our main blasting ability, which can be flavored similar to how I suggested for Fairy Fire. Guiding Bolt is an arcane equation we cast that can manipulate the probability around our target. Starry Form takes up our wild shape uses and usually envelops the shadows on our body with the night sky. Instead, when we activate Starry Form, geometric shapes and equations manifest around our character, and depending on which constellation we choose, different shapes manifest. Starry Form will provide us with roll flexibility with a little bit of planning, able to pile on damage with the Archer Form, boosting our healing capabilities with Chalice, or helping us maintain our spells with the Dragon Form. At level 3 we can cast second level spells, and here are my suggestions. Earthbind or Hold Person as a single target control option. Enhance ability, enlarge reduce casting an equation that alters the size of a target, Gust of Wind, locate object, pass without trace, and spike growth. Next at level 4 we have the option between an ability score increase for feat, and I went with the ability score increase choosing Wisdom to increase our accuracy with our spells and boost up our spell save DC. For level 5 we start casting third level spells, and here are my suggestions. Dispel Magic, Erupting Earth, Plant Growth, Tidal Wave, and Wall of Water. With level 6 we gain the Cosmic Omen feature, which allows us to manipulate the results of d20 rolls. After every long rest we roll a die. If we roll even until our next long rest, as a reaction, whenever a creature within 30 feet of us makes an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check, we can roll a d6 and add the result to the roll. If we were to roll odd instead of even after a long rest, the ability is similar, but instead of adding the result of the d6 to the rolls, we subtract the result instead. When we hit 7th level, we can start casting 4th level spells, and here are my suggestions. Control Water, Freedom of Movement, Locate Creature, Polymorph, and Watery Sphere. At level 8 we get the option to choose between an ability score increase or feat again, and just like last time I took the ability score increase choosing Wisdom to max out our score. Hitting level 9 we can cast 5th level spells, and here are my suggestions. Cone of Cold, Transmute Rock, Tree Stride, and Wrath of Nature. And finally, for level 10, our Starry Form gets a full-on upgrade with the Twinkling Constellation feature. At the start of our turn, we can change our constellation to adapt to the events in combat. In addition to this, each option is improved. The extra damage provided by the Archer increases to 2d8. The additional healing from the Chalice is also increased to 2d8. And while the Dragon is active, we have a flight speed of 20 feet and can hover. Now let's take a look at this build's pros and cons. For our pros, this build is well rounded. It is capable of piling on damage, controlling the battlefield, and keeping party members up with healing. We are a super support. We will always feel like we are helping out our teammates. Whether we are blasting, controlling the battlefield, or healing, we will always have an effect that benefits our team. We have a solid armor class. The Tortoiseshell puts in work, giving us a baseline armor class of 17, which is great for a spellcaster. With the option to use a shield, that pushes us up to an AC of 19. Now for our cons. We need to stay out of melee. Despite having a solid armor class, the build does not have any melee tools to keep us in the middle of the fight. The abilities for this build are range based. We are not the damage all-star. Even though the Circle of Stars offers greater single target damage capability compared to other Druid subclasses, being flexible in our role comes at a cost. Our greatest strength is being able to react to events in combat, which means our focus will not always have us blast away our enemies. With that said, I want to hear from you. What kind of Quandrix character would you build? Let me know down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, I drop a video every week, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out more character builds, I have a playlist just for you. You can click on the thumbnail on the screen or a link in the description below. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.